The wilderness holds no mercy for the innocent, and when a massive python sets its sights on a defenseless wolf pup, death becomes a terrifying certainty. But what happens when an enraged father wolf discovers this ancient predator threatening his offspring? After watching this incredible footage, you'll never underestimate the protective fury of a parent in the wild again. Deep in the remote forests of North America, where silence can mean survival or sudden death, a family of grey wolves had established their den in what they believed was safe territory. The alpha male had carefully chosen this location, hidden among thick vegetation and rocky outcroppings, providing maximum protection for his vulnerable young. For weeks, everything seemed perfect. The pups were growing stronger each day, their playful yips echoing from the safety of their underground sanctuary. But nature has a way of testing even the most careful preparations, and on this particular evening, an unexpected threat was silently making its way through the forest. A massive Burmese python, nearly 20 feet in length and weighing over 100 pounds, had been tracking the scent of young mammals for days. These apex constrictors are relentless hunters, capable of remaining motionless for hours before striking with lightning speed. The python's heat-sensing abilities had locked onto the warm bodies emanating from the wolf den, and as darkness fell, the enormous serpent began its methodical approach, moving with the fluid precision that has made these predators successful for millions of years. The snake positioned itself near the den entrance, coiling its muscular body in preparation for what would normally be an easy kill. What the python didn't anticipate was the sophisticated early warning system that wolf packs have developed over thousands of years of evolution. The alpha male, who had been patrolling the territory's perimeter, caught an unfamiliar scent on the wind. His nostrils flared as he processed the information, every instinct screaming that something was terribly wrong. Meanwhile, back at the den, the youngest pup had wandered slightly outside the protective entrance, drawn by the sounds of nocturnal insects. This tiny wolf, barely 8 weeks old, had no understanding of the mortal danger that was now within striking distance. The python's eyes fixed on its target, and in one fluid motion that seemed to defy the laws of physics, the massive constrictor launched itself forward. The attack was swift and brutal. The python's powerful jaws clamped down on the helpless pup while its body began the deadly process of constriction. Within seconds, coil after coil of muscle wrapped around the young wolf, applying pressure that would normally crush the life out of any prey within minutes. The pup's terrified whimpers pierced the night air, a sound that would reach the ears of every adult wolf within a mile radius. But this was no ordinary hunt, and the python had made a critical miscalculation. Wolf pups don't just belong to their parents, they belong to the entire pack, and threatening one means declaring war on all of them. The alpha male, now racing back toward the den at full speed, let out a bone-chilling howl at every member that's some of his family. The mother wolf was the first to arrive at the scene, and what she witnessed ignited a primal rage that transformed her from a caring parent into a lethal weapon. The sight of her offspring trapped in the deadly embrace of the enormous snake triggered every protective instinct that millions of years of evolution had hardwired into her DNA. As the alpha male burst through the undergrowth, his yellow eyes blazed with a fury that few creatures in the wild ever witness and survive to remember. The python, still focused on subduing its prey, suddenly found itself facing not one, but multiple enraged wolves, each weighing nearly as much as the snake itself and armed with bone-crushing jaws designed for taking down prey much larger than themselves. The battle that was about to unfold would determine whether this wolf family would remain intact, or whether the ancient predator would claim another victim in its relentless pursuit of survival. What happened next defied everything wildlife experts thought they knew about predator-prey dynamics in the wild. The alpha male didn't hesitate for even a fraction of a second. With the explosive burst of power, he launched himself directly at the python's head, his massive jaws clamping down with enough force to shatter bone. The impact was so violent that the entire forest seemed to shake. The python, caught completely off guard by this ferocious counterattack, immediately released its grip on the pup and began thrashing wildly in an attempt to dislodge the wolf. But the father's bite was locked in place, his powerful jaw muscles working like a steel trap that refused to open. Blood began to flow from the serpent's wounds as the wolf's razor-sharp teeth penetrated deep into the snake's flesh. The mother wolf wasted no time joining the assault. She positioned herself strategically along the python's body and began a relentless attack on the snake's midsection, her teeth tearing through scales and muscle tissue. The python's body convulsed as it tried to coil around one of its attackers, but the wolves were too quick and too coordinated in their movements. From the surrounding forest, the distinctive howls of approaching pack members echoed through the trees. Within minutes, 3 more adult wolves arrived at the scene, transforming what had been a desperate rescue attempt into an all-out war. The python now found itself surrounded by a circle of snarling predators, each one determined to protect their family member at any cost. The massive serpent attempted to use its size advantage, whipping its powerful tail toward the wolves in sweeping arcs that could easily break bones. But these weren't inexperienced prey animals. These were seasoned hunters who understood pack tactics and knew exactly how to work together to bring down dangerous opponents. They moved with choreographed precision, striking at the snake from multiple angles while avoiding its desperate counterattacks. One of the younger pack members grabbed the python's tail section and began pulling with tremendous force, stretching the snake's body and preventing it from coiling effectively. The alpha male continued his devastating assault on the serpent's head, shaking it violently while maintaining his iron grip. The python's movements became increasingly erratic and uncoordinated as blood loss began to weaken the ancient predator. The rescued pup, though traumatized and bearing the marks of the python's initial attack, managed to crawl back toward the safety of the den. Its survival instincts kicked in as it sought refuge in the familiar darkness of its underground home, where its littermates waited in terrified silence. The battle raged on for what felt like an eternity, but was actually only a matter of minutes. The python's immense strength was no match for the combined fury of an entire wolf pack fighting to protect their own. The snake's thrashing became weaker and more desperate as the wolves maintained their coordinated assault, each one playing a crucial role in the systematic destruction of their enemy. As the python's movements finally began to slow, the alpha male's grip never wavered. His eyes remained fixed on the serpent with an intensity that spoke to the deepest bonds of family and the lengths to which a parent will go to ensure their offspring's survival. This wasn't just about defeating a predator. This was about sending a message to every creature in the forest that threatening his family would result in swift and merciless retribution. The python's fate was sealed the moment it decided to target a wolf pup. But what came next would shock even the most experienced wildlife researchers who study predator behavior. In the end, the python's ancient hunting instincts proved no match for the unbreakable bonds of family and the savage determination of wolves protecting their young. The massive serpent, once a feared apex predator, lay motionless in the forest dirt, its reign of terror brought to a brutal and decisive end by the coordinated fury of the pack. The rescued pup would carry the scars of this encounter for the rest of its life, but more importantly, it would carry the knowledge that no matter how dark the wilderness becomes, its family will always fight to bring it home. The alpha male's message had been delivered with bone-crushing clarity to every predator within miles. Threaten a wolf pup and face the consequences of an entire pack's wrath. This incredible footage reminds us that in nature's most dangerous moments, the strongest force isn't venom, size, or stealth. It's the unwavering love of a parent willing to risk everything for their offspring. The python learned too late that some prey fights back and some battles are worth dying for.